Good morning, people. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. Here we are at Department of Career Services. Today is October 8th, 2023. It is about almost 5 o'clock in the morning. We're getting ready to go to the RAM event today. A little bit of noise outside. Hopefully Wadabevi will get on here so I can tell her to ask him to quiet down the loud piercing voice outside. Hey, good morning. I'm on my podcast right now. Well, okay, could you quiet down a little bit? Okay. Back. Hello. Okay, so here we are. Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help you get from where you are to someplace better. From point A to point B, from Someday Isle to Successlandia. How do we do it? We do it through this podcast, but it's not really the podcast. It's what's down below in the description. That's where the experts are. So please look at the stuff down below, click on the links, spend your time doing that every day, favorite, share, click on the bell, you know the thing. And the second thing about that is it's very important to do this every day. It doesn't really work if you don't make it part of your daily routine, if it doesn't become habit. That's how you move forward in life. You create good, solid, strong routines, and you build on those routines. It's quite simple. That's just how it works. That's how you get what's called forward momentum. All right, so moving right along. Our podcast is broken down into 5 parts generally. Weekends, it's a little bit different, but the parts are part 1, prepare for the podcast. 2, attitude of gratitude. 3, review yesterday. 4, plan for today. 5, project the day, and then go do it. However, this is the weekend, so we kind of lighten up on that and focus more on the spiritual part of our life, because our program is in 4 parts: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So the weekends we focus more on the spiritual, where during the work week we focus more on the other 3 things: the physical, the mental, and the emotional. And today we're going to talk about James 1:27 once we get to that. However, for now, let's just start our day as we normally do with the what. If Wadabevi's there, how do we normally start the podcasts? With coffee? No, we start them with the breathing exercise. So the Dr. Daniel Huberman breathing exercise. Right. Okay, right. Wadabevi, preparation. How do we prepare? We start with the breathing exercise, double inhale, filling our lungs as much as we possibly can, getting as much oxygen into our lungs as we can, into our bloodstream as we can get, and then a long, slow exhale to get rid of cortisol and stress. So it looks like what? It looks like this. Evacuation complete. I'm smiling because last night we were at Starbucks having coffee with the dentist who was at the RAM event, and I made the mistake or whatever, bringing up the fact that I have those smile liners, whatever they're called, Smile Direct Club. And he said, send them back. They're getting sued. Don't use them. It's horrible. But I have to say, when I look at my teeth, they're not that bad. Pretty good. Not that anybody cares. So, but that's why I was smiling. Okay, part one down. Part two, attitude of gratitude. This is something very important to start each day. So this is a three-part thing. So first part, write in your book, I'm so happy and grateful now that blank. Part one. Part two, turn it into a question, because our brains have evolved to solve problems. What is the problem we're trying to solve here? Right now, we're trying to solve the problem of what am I so happy and grateful for? So I turn it into a question. What am I so happy and grateful for right now? And then step three is I turn my attention inward to look at the other voices inside of my head. And when I ask the question, I turn my attention inward, I will see or hear or feel or whatever these things popping up that I'm happy and grateful for. So we'll do that. Okay, next. Okay, that's down to. Third part would be the review of yesterday. And we're just asking ourselves again, asking the question, how did I feel about yesterday? What were the highs? What were the lows? Where did I fall short of the mark? Where did I exceed expectations? So what I obviously want to do is I want to concentrate more on exceeding expectations and reduce the times I fell short. Boom, simple. All right. But we do that after the video, when our alone time. Step 4, plan for today, and then step 5, project the plan and move forward. As far as today, what I want to talk about is a couple things. Number 1, advice from an 80-year-old: always accept an outstretched hand. Okay, advice from an 80-year-old: always accept an outstretched hand. Next, on our stuff down below, we have part of our plan for today. It's simple. Say, I believe that something great is going to happen to me today. I believe that something great is going to happen to me today. I can come up with my 3 simple goals for today. 2, 3, RAM, church, and reset. Okay, cool. Next, we have what? We have an addition down below. PragerU has a course in happiness. This kind of would complement Arthur Brooks's course. In the science of happiness, this is more of a pragmatic approach. Logic, reason, deduction, induction. Happiness, number 1. Why be happy? And happiness, number 2. Don't make things worse. Okay, happiness day number 2. Why don't make things worse? Number 1. Why be happy? These are 5-minute little videos. Very good, very short, very pragmatic, and they complement Arthur Brooks. All righty then. How are we doing on time? 9 minutes in. Okay, so let's look at James 1:27, New King James Version. Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is that to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Here's some interesting things to note just about that. Undefiled religion before God and the Father. Why doesn't it say God the Father, or our Lord and the Father, or Jesus and God? Why is the words God and the Father? So in this case, does God refer to Jesus? Well, it must. It must, unless it's supposed to be inclusive. But anyway, we don't want to make a big deal about that. Just an anomaly. I think the thing is to move on. Let's not get wrapped around the axle of why does it say God and the Father. We're not going to do an iron sharpens iron thing and spend 8 weeks to dissect, or 2 weeks to 2 hours to talk about the word and. Okay? Undefiled religion, and I would leave out the next 2 words. Undefiled religion is this: to visit orphans and widows in their trouble, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Now, I'd have to look at the footnotes, because another interesting thing, oftentimes when a word is italicized, it was inserted, wasn't in the original. Would it be different if it said, pure and undefiled religion is this: to visit orphans and widows in their trouble, comma, to keep oneself unspotted from the world? Yeah, I think that makes good sense. With adding the word and means you have to do both, where when there's a comma, it talks about this, comma, that. Okay, so pure and undefiled religion would include visiting orphans and widows in their trouble, and it would also include keeping oneself unspotted from the world. Those are examples of undefiled, pure religion. Visiting orphans and widows, and another example would be keeping oneself unspotted from the world. Does it mean you have to do both? I don't know. However, there is a instruction: visit orphans and widows in their trouble. That is the fundamental purpose of love thy neighbor. What is an orphan and a widow? Well, technically, an orphan is somebody who doesn't have parents. So let's see, orphan. We'll ask Google Dictionary. A child whose parents are dead. Well, most of the people who were formerly labeled as the homeless are people whose parents are dead. Except it says a child. The first line of a paragraph set as the last line of a page. Okay, all right. Okay, so could an orphan be a person whose parents are dead? Well, technically, probably, because if we're all children of God, if you're children of God and your parents are dead, you would technically be an orphan. Widow, a woman who has lost her spouse by death and has not remarried. Okay, another one, a woman whose spouse is often away participating in a specified sport or activity. So that's kind of a different thing. Woman who's lost her spouse by death and has not remarried. Okay, could it be spiritual death? I'm out here alone. So basically, orphans and widows are people who are out there alone. They're not part of a family. So we could use James 1:27 to be pure and undefiled religion. Pure religion is helping people in need. Helping people in need. What's the downside of that? Well, nothing is the downside of that. How are we doing for time? Okay, 14 minutes in, and the time is 5:12. We got to leave soon for the RAM event, so we're going to leave it at that. Wadabevi, are you still there? James 1:27, undefiled, pure religion is visiting orphans and widows in their need. Orphans and widows in their trouble. Okay, visiting them in their trouble. Not when it's Christmas time and everything is great, everybody's happy. That's not pure religion. Doesn't mean don't do it. It's just that's not pure religion. Pure religion is visiting them when they're in their time of trouble, implying that you're going to do something directly or indirectly to relieve their burden or lessen their burden. Let's go to Seth. Go to Seth Blogs. Getting it right the first time. How unlikely is this? The artist who paints a masterpiece from scratch without hesitation. Nope. The playwright who doesn't need a workshop or a reading. Nope. The architect who designs a food hall that has a layout and a vibe that works without one alteration. Nope. Evolution is powerful. It gives us the chance to revise, edit, and do what works while removing what doesn't. Once we realize that there's almost no chance we'll get it right the first time, we can embrace the opportunity to sign up for the better instead of perfect. Get it wrong the first time, then make it better. Right. Or Nolan Bushnell's thing of just resolve that we'll never be as crappy as we are today. Okay, we don't need to get it right the first time. What we need to do is get it wrong, then make it better. Boom. So we'll use that as our guidance for today. And with that, I am going to sign out. Sign out, people. 16 minutes in. And Wadabebe, if you're still there, I'm going to say and cut. See you by the car we're going to leave soon. Boom, bonk, bingo. Bingo.